Well, it's morning and it's raining. Gotta pack up within my tent and bring my bag in. That's one of the benefits of having a two-man tent, is you can pack up inside your tent. I'm being quiet because there's other people here. But I'm gonna pack up all my stuff and then pack up my backpack inside my tent, and then I'll be ready to go. All right, let's get started.
Welcome to another edition of As the Crow Flies Hiking. You've probably seen a little bit of the video that I've cut in and out of, but what do you do when you wake up to rain in the campsite that you're in? There's a lot of ways to handle it, but the best way, if you're dealing with a tent, hammock, whole different story. You've got a little bit better situation because you can get under your tarp and then work through all your gear and stuff under the tarp. But for those who are ground dwellers like me, the issues come when you've got a trekking pole tent and it's a single wall. Then you've got to just essentially wrap it up, put it on the outside of your pack and hike. But if you've got a double wall tent, though they are a little bit heavier, there is some things that you can do. Number one is you can pack all your gear up inside your tent. And that's some of the stuff that I'll show you that I did this morning. Didn't film a lot of the packing up in the rain because I was afraid my camera would shut down on me. But what you can do is get in your tent, bring your backpack in your vestibule, and then put it there for the night. I usually put a contractor bag under my backpack that's in my vestibule, and then I'll take it inside my tent when I get up in the morning. From there, you can do everything that you need to do as long as you have a two-man tent. If you've got a one-man tent, you got a lot less room in the tent to do all the things that you need to do. But with a two-man tent, if you're getting into backpacking and you're thinking, what am I gonna do if it rains? How am I gonna pack up in the rain? Well, you can pack up everything that you need while you're in your tent. And then with your backpack full, and I'll cut to some of that now and I'll show you what I did this morning.
I've got to be flexible here and work around the rain. There is kind of a hack for doing that, and it begins with a two-man tent. If you got a one-man tent, it's a little harder. But with a two-man tent, you can pack up all your gear. Probably can't see it. I've done a little bit of that today. But I pack up all my gear on one side of the tent. I bring my backpack right here in my tent and start packing up. And then my vestibule is big enough that I'm able to do my coffee and breakfast inside my vestibule, which is key. I think that's why people love to have a large vestibule on their tent, because in a rain like this, you can get everything you need done except for putting the rain fly in your backpack and the tent in your backpack underneath your tent. I'm actually making my coffee right now. What I did with my tent is I put it under my vestibule, put a trash compactor bag under the backpack. That way I can keep the bottom of the backpack from getting wet if there's splashback or water that comes under the vestibule. So it worked pretty good last night. I was able to get my sleeping bag packed up, have my sleeping pad all packed up from inside my tent, and everything's in bags down at the bottom of my tent. So now I'll begin the process after I drink my coffee of packing everything in my backpack. And then the last thing I do is get out of the tent and put my rain fly and tent in separate spaces, because I don't want my body of my tent to be in with the rain fly, because then that will get it wet, because the rain fly is the only thing that's wet right now. So I put the rain fly on the outside of my tent in the big pocket and let it dry out during the day, and then I put the body of my tent inside my backpack to keep it separate and dry throughout the day, so when I set it back up tonight, everything's not wet. So essentially that is the hack for doing the chore of packing up in the rain.
Now what do you do next? It's still raining when you get out of your tent. Well, then you're going to have to think about options. Number one, maybe you carry an umbrella and you take your backpack, put it under your umbrella while you finish undoing your tent. You get out, you take your rain fly off, you wrap it up, put it on the outside of your backpack. Then you take the body of your tent, if you have a double wall tent, And you want that to be separated from your rain fly, because if it's not, and you put them all together, then you're going to have a wet tent for the rest of the day. And the main body of your tent is going to be wet, and that's the one thing you want to stay dry. Or if you have another trash compactor bag or a large 2-gallon Ziploc bag, you can put the body of your tent in that to keep it dry and away from everything else. It's not foolproof, and there's no real 100% answers to packing up in the rain. Packing up in the rain is probably one of the worst parts of backpacking, because you know that you've got to have that backpack all wet for the rest of the day. Unless the sun comes out like it did today, and then you can set it up like I did today and dry it out. Within a few minutes, if the sun's out, or at least partly sun out, then you're going to have the rain dried off your rain fly, and you're back in business. Thank you guys for watching this episode of As the Crow Flies Hiking. I hope you got something good out of it. But do comment below. Tell me what I'm missing about putting your tent up in the rain. Tell me what I'm missing about having a hammock instead of a tent, or whatever you think is best about packing up in the rain. I'll see you guys on the next adventure. Packing up in the rain. See you on the next adventure. Oh God.
Oh. Okay, so if that's on there, if they can actually hear it, you need to do an outtake.
Yeah. Wow, that was somebody ripped one on the other side of the camera.